o'clock, so we'll call this work session to order. And the first thing we gotta do is the adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt.
I'd like to add an item, sir, if possible.
What?
Resolution for authorizing application for North Carolina water infrastructure additional supplemental appropriations for disaster relief.
Y'all good with that? Do we need, let's say, we probably need a motion. No, we don't need a motion for that. Let's see.
Yeah, we did need a motion. Need one to.
I think you need a-
I make a motion, we add that amendment to the prior motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like one. All right, so we got that added. And then, did you make a motion to approve the agenda too? Right? So we need a second to that.
I'll second.
Mr. Ham, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Opposed, none, the agenda's approved. All right, so we got old business, nothing. News business, electronic meeting rules for procedure. And everybody's gotten the email on this a couple of times, I believe, right? And Council Member Matthews asked that we put this on here. So you want to start or got any comments? On the electronic meeting rules?
Yes, you ready to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just thinking, as a council, we have encouraged our residents to stay home. The governor issued a stay-at-home executive order, and I think that as elected officials, we should follow suit. And if we can still effectively handle city business, which I think we can, we were assured by the city manager from the IT department that we can still do it. We can still have virtual meetings and still be just as effective. So that's something that I really want the board to consider. I mean, it's safety for us as well. I mean, look, we're supposed to be 6 feet apart, and I don't think that I'm 6 feet from council member to my right or my left, you know? So it's something that I want us to strongly consider. And in addition to that, I looked at the draft and I looked at the rules of how it's possible, but I didn't see anything in there about public comment. And I think if we are going to have virtual meetings, we can go back to allowing the public to speak at both of our monthly meetings as well as the public hearings. So that's my
Any other thoughts or comments?
And I agree, and I just wanted to chime in on what she said. And the last vote, I think we had when it was stated or misrepresented by some that, I can't speak on anyone else's behalf, but that my vote was a way to censor or take somebody's freedom of speech. That was not the intent by any means. As you know, I've stood at that side of the podium on many occasions. I think, like she just stated, that we're looking at it from a physical standpoint as far as having as much physical interaction that we shouldn't have. And I think, like I said, if there's a way that we can listen to the concerns of the community, that we do need to have a way to do it virtually. I think the biggest way to have solicit ideas is, for one, not to wait for the first and third Monday, but to be a part of the community and being in your community. So I've gotten calls and, you know, being outside in the community to solicit ideas of what we should do. And the basic consensus from the community is that we should find a way to do virtual. And if we do come up with that, then, you know, we should be able to open it up to both meetings if we have a way to do that.
All right. Any more comments, thoughts?
Yes, I've actually talked with a lot of elected officials in different counties, and they're currently using Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And from what they explained to me, with Zoom, it's a upfront fee of $1,500, and it's unlimited. And not only can you use it for our council meetings, but if, say, for instance, if the other council members wanted to have a town hall meeting, there's basically 10 spaces available that would be licensed under our contract, where, Mr. Mayor, if you wanted to have a town hall, you could do that, and other council members as well. And it's 24-hour support, and it's online virtual training too, so I think it's a good idea.
Anybody else?
If we go to it, can we make it optional whether or not we attend a physical meeting or do it by virtual?
I don't know, you have to ask Ron.
Yes, you can do that. You can come if you'd like, or you can dial in if you'd like. We would use WebEx. We already have the software for that, and we've used that. We have department head meetings that are done virtually, so it is possible to do that.
My only concern was when I read the memo that you sent, is the vote, if you call in over the phone, there's some things you cannot vote on, where the physical body can, but you on the phone cannot. And I don't think either of us would not want our vote to count, but I also want us to consider the safety of each other. And also, we are encouraging our residents to do something that we are not doing ourselves. And we can do it. It is the 21st century. Technology is amazing. I was just on a community meeting last week, and there was almost 30 people up there, and the meeting ran smoothly. It was great. And we still conducted business, and I think it's something that we need to do. I think it should be without question.
And I can be 100% wrong, I don't know. I like meeting here, and I think we're actually pretty safe here. I like the interaction of talking to you, and I don't get that as much on Zoom, because I've done both. But the other side of that is, I think we're on the downside of all this stuff anyway. So I think you're only gonna do it for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 meetings at the most. I don't think it's gonna be any long period of time that we're gonna do it on. And it was the same thing with limiting the citizen speaking. What you said was, as long as the epidemic is going on, we would do that, and then after that, we would go back and relook at that. So we didn't change it for any long period of time, the way I remember the motion and what we talked about.
But
I think that in reference to what you said, Mayor, I'm not an epidemiologist, and I don't think anybody in here is, but the biggest concern of mine is with the new spikes at the prison, and a lot of those guys about to get released, nursing homes, people that are care providers, some that are asymptomatic, that look healthy. I mean, it's like a 2-week gestational period before anybody even, in some cases, have symptoms. I know from my last meeting, I could only speak of one person that I knew that had it. Now, I just got to phone somebody, her whole household, maybe. I mean, they're being quarantined for 2 weeks, and her husband works at a local business that has come in contact in a warehouse that's probably interacting with other people. And unfortunately, the children, the pediatrics are not being tested the way the adults are. And I mean, like I said, I can't speak on, I know the government and the federal government is doing things that I don't particularly agree with, as far as opening the doors and people doing what they do, but I just think that we still have to be on the right side of history and be proactive instead of reactive as far as opening the gates. So I think we can play it week to week or meeting to meeting, but if we have something in place that protects all of us, like I tell people, it's not about protecting myself. In some cases, it's about me looking out for the safety of others and what I may not know that I have in transmitting them. So that's all I have on that.
Can I respond to a couple of questions?
Yeah, hold on 1 minute, Tran. Go ahead.
Okay. So the draft of the participation is in a May format. So Ms. Matthews, to answer some of your questions, it wouldn't require everybody to participate electronically. Whoever wanted to physically be here would still be here. It allows you to participate electronically if you choose to. That way, if you decided you didn't want to come in person, that's fine, you can do that. And so I just wanted to clear that up because it almost felt like that y'all were thinking it was going to make everybody only be able to attend virtually, but
All
you
right,
can
but
do both.
to her point or your point, if we're here and she does it electronically, can she vote?
The way this is drafted is because of quasi-judicial matters, which is like the hearing you're going to have tonight. That whether it's the School of Government, AG's office, everybody feels like you need to have at least 4 people present, like we have 7. So at least a majority present physically for a quorum when there's a quasi-judicial matter coming before you to be heard, because questions to be asked, answered, other things that people view and consider. Y'all probably consider somebody's body movements, demeanor when they come up to testify at the public hearings. And that's all part of the evidence that can be considered. You don't have that ability if you're attending electronically, whether that's video electronically or telephone electronically. And so the recommendation has been to not allow votes on quasi-judicial matters unless you're physically present. That way you can participate in the exchange of evidence information.
So
the person brings documents, the person
if somebody's speaking, they're coming here?
Somebody speaking would come here, We still have the location here,
Right.
so somebody having a public comment could still come here
Okay.
and comment just like they would anyway. That's the other part of what I was trying to explain.
I'm saying do the whole operation virtually. I mean, we made a really quick decision to eliminate our public comments and public hearing to once a month. We did that quick. Even when we had safety precautions, we got tape over the floors, we have an officer outside, we got the loudspeakers booming to protect our residents and to protect ourselves. And I'm having a hard time understanding why we're not willing to make the same adjustments when it comes. I enjoy this too. I do. It's nothing like being in the physical, but right now I feel like it is our responsibility to take care of ourselves, to take care of each other, and to also do what we are requiring our residents to do, which is if you can, stay home. And we can stay home and we can still conduct business. I have full faith in our IT department. They've even said that we could do this virtually and still be effective and still conduct city business. And I think that we should strongly consider doing that. I am not gonna stay home and not allow my one vote and one voice to be heard and counted. So I don't even think we should consider if some people can be here, if some people cannot. To me, I'm not gonna do that.
Councilmember Ham?
Mr. Lawrence spoke to what I was going to speak to in part was the fact that I also like the presence of people, council members, for the interaction purposes. But I can see where someone may not want to be here for their own personal reasons. I would like to see us continue a council meeting at this site with a minimum of the quorum representation. If someone feels like they don't want to be here for whatever reason, that's their option, or it could be their option, as the case may be. But I feel that at this point in time, so far as the pandemic is concerned and its impact on us, I prefer to meet here physically.
So with that being said, because I think that's the consensus, then we need to make the proper adjustments in this room. First, starting with 6 feet, because we have not met that. We are not 6 feet apart right now. Even with the provisions that we have made, it's not. I'm not 6 feet from Councilmember Ham. And I can test that by getting up now and showing that.
I can move it this way a little bit.
We asked to have it sit up 6 feet apart from the chair, so they should be pretty daggone close. It's basically.
Close does not meet the standard. We have to follow the
We have a
standard.
tape measure.
She is about 3.5 to 4 feet away from that gentleman right there. I have 6 feet all day against the mayor.
Yeah.
I'm far away. I'm probably the furthest person in here.
I guess we can spread out a little bit more then, make sure we get that extra 6 inches.
Just some extra tables in place.
Then that's fine. And that seems kind of condescending, but that's fine. It's not about me. It's about all of us. Because we don't know what's happening inside of this room right now. And I get it. We may be on the downside of it. Or we may be about to hit another peak. We don't know.
You don't know? You're right.
But my thing is, if I'm asking my District 4 residents, which I do, I pour my heart out and say, if you can stay home, stay home. Because it is our responsibility to keep everybody safe. I get that. It's not that I don't want to be here. So I don't want that implication to even be brought out. That's not it. I'm more so looking at the safety of all of us and myself. I'm a resident first. And it matters to me because I have to go home to my family as well as all of you.
And to piggyback also, I think, what does the statute say, 10 people in the room? We're out of compliance right now because the officer was here to serve us. And then if we add an additional person for public comment, that's gonna add 11 when they come in to speak physically. So is one of us gonna have to leave the room just to be in compliance with the 10? That's my next question. I mean, because we're 10 right now as a
I think
panel.
it's the spirit and intent when it comes to this. We have to be able to conduct business. There's been discussion about that before, or whether it be at the clerks or other levels. If there's a huge board, and boards are big, it would be problematic. But I think this size board, what we're doing, I think we're able to maintain 6 feet. If we spread out a bit more, we can do that.
But what he's saying, there's
saying
more
the
than 10 people in this
10.
room right now.
What I'm saying is, I think we are carrying with the intent. It's not exactly 10 people, but we are carrying out the intent to have a small group meeting. And you're conducting official government business, which is essential.
If you go back and look at the governor's executive order, it doesn't make it mandatory in a setting like this. In fact, there's some language in it, I didn't bring it with me today, but there's some language in it that allows there to be more than 10 in a meeting like this, because I looked at that before we met the last time, because the last time we met was after he had come out with that executive order.
Thank you.
But again, the proposed, I'm not married to the proposed meeting, so don't get that. When I drew up, it's the same one the county's using. It just allows someone to attend virtually if they want to. I'd suggest you pass something at least allowing that, so if somebody does want to attend virtually, they have that option under the circumstances.
Yeah, why don't we
The only
pass,
thing you can't vote for is the quasi-judicial stuff. You can vote for,
yeah, well, why don't we pass this, and then if you don't want to come, you don't have to come. And if you want to Zoom in, you can. I mean, does that make sense to you? I agree with that. Then it'd be up to y'all. And another thing I think is important is our employees are having to come to work. And I think, that if they've got to show up, we ought to try to show up too. I mean, I do believe that. That if all of a sudden we're not coming, but we're asking them to come, I'm not sure that's right either.
But that's, you're which side of the coin though? You're telling residents to stay home and we're coming. There's a lot of people having to go to work. There's a lot of people having to go to work. They don't have the luxury to telework and all of that. And I hate that. But they are essential employees and that's what it called. They're on the front line. And I am most gracious, not just for our city employees, but everybody that's got to show up for work. I'm just saying us as a governing body, as leaders of the city, what are we gonna do in terms of, I'm asking you to do something that I'm not doing myself? Because I'm pretty sure our city employees, if they could stay home to work, they probably would. If they could, because I'm getting the emails, we're trying to figure out how we can do as much work from home as we can. So let's not act like we haven't tried to make those provisions for the city. But
No, we have, absolutely. But there's some people that have to come to work.
all across this county.
All right, anybody got anything else to add, take away? Somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we adopt the virtual, I don't know how we want to term this, is virtual meeting until the state lifts its, limitations on meetings and things of that nature with the pandemic.
No, and we're going to basically adopt what Ron has drawn up? Is that cool?
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, likewise. Motion carries. Okay. All right, next we got the NCLM voting delegate. Yeah.
okay. So during the city vision conference each year, cities elect a voting delegate to vote on the board of directors for the upcoming year. The League's City Vision 2020 annual conference has been canceled in response to the state's coronavirus response. This year, the League will host a virtual summit on May 28, 2020. During the City Vision virtual summit, League members can attend the annual business meeting where the new board of directors will be announced. It is recommended that the council authorize the city manager to be voting delegate at the City Vision virtual summit to be held on May 28, 2020. So this is typically what has been done in the past. If anyone else would like to be a voting delegate, that would be just fine, but I will certainly do it if you'd like.
Anybody got any comment, opinion?
We've always done that way.
I don't think we've done it that way, have we? I thought it was always
Sometimes I
council
think
members.
you've done it, Mayor.
Yeah, I mean, I sure don't care.
I don't care.
All right, everybody good with Tim being our delegate? Okay, all right, sounds good.
All right, so the next order of business, if I could get Mike Wagner in here. Mike? And this information came in late after the agenda was put out, so thank you for allowing us to add it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight seeking a resolution for an application for a SODRA funding, which is the additional supplemental appropriations for the Disaster Relief Act. Back in November of 2019, we had about $34 million of projects to our sanitary sewer system identified. One of those projects is replacing the force main at the Big Cherry Pump Station, which goes underneath the Neuse River. We have the opportunity to apply since this project wasn't identified in any previous capital improvement projects, we need to seek a resolution for that this evening. And the intention is to apply for it. We could get awarded $3 million with a 2% loan. We could get awarded, 50% loan forgiveness. But the hope is that we'll get awarded 100% principal loan forgiveness, so we can
You got other projects, obviously, that you want to do, or just on the list of it. What moves this one to the front?
at any time, that force main that goes under the river is already failing. There's I&I coming into that force main. Hurricane Matthew, that Big Cherry Pump Station was flooded along with Hurricane Florence. We've had to sandbag it with a couple of the other high-level situations in the newsroom.
Anybody got any questions, comments?
Do you have any grant like this year that could do something like this?
Not at this application is due on the 30th, and for the proposal from Withers Ravenel is for $5,000. I believe it's money well spent to spend $5,000 and potentially get $3 million out of it. This is what they do for a living. Most engineers now have grant writers on their staff. We don't have any grant writers here. We're going to contribute all of this information to them.
All right, any more questions? You want to add this to the consent agenda, or you want to just vote on it now?
Just vote on
Vote on it now, maybe?
All right, anybody want to make a motion? Oh, I'm not hearing anybody want to make a motion.
it. Wait a minute, I'm just kidding. I make a motion that we authorize the resolution authorizing the application for the North Carolina Water Infrastructure Additional Supplemental Appropriation for Disaster Relief.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, likewise. Motion carries. All right,
Thank you.
get the money now.
Sherry's lift station, we need to do something about this.
All right.
Finance, Catherine? Ready for the consent agenda, sir?
Is that all that's all we got, right?
I think so.
All right, so we'll stand recess.
No, we have the consent agenda. Do you want to review the item
Okay.
from Finance
Yeah,
Director?
yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Tonight, I have a resolution to suspend in-person attendance of the public to the formal bid openings due to the state of emergency due to the coronavirus pandemic. North Carolina General Statute 143-129 is the procedure for letting of public contracts, which requires formal bidding when there is an expenditure of public money in the amount of $500,000 or more for construction and $90,000 or more for equipment and supplies. And part of that procedure requires sealed bids be opened in public. Because of the state of emergency that Governor Cooper issued on March 20th, and then on March 27th, he issued the Executive Order 121, the stay-at-home order, which limits gatherings to no more than 10 people and establishes exceptions for these essential businesses and operations, which also does include governmental operations. The city currently has formal bid 2020-002 wastewater system improvements. It's set to open tomorrow at 2 o'clock. This is for the big ditch. It's federal money. We're getting a grant and loan of about $3 million. And we could not delay the bid opening because we would miss certain milestones which we have to meet in order to comply with the grant. So we are recommending that the council approve the resolution to suspend in-person public attendance to the formal bid openings during the pandemic. And we have laid out in the resolution all those alternate procedures to ensure that the spirit of public bidding remains intact, which will include a live WebEx feed so that people can watch it live. The recorded version will be placed on the internet on the city's webpage so people can watch it. They will be able to see, I'm actually the one that will be opening the bids, and my other person in finance, my procurement specialist, Nona Robbins, will be there taking notes. I believe Ms. Laura Getz is going to be the verification witness to verify who was in attendance and that the bids were sealed at the time, the proper time. So we feel like in the spirit of what the School of Government attorneys have recommended, that we are complying with this procedure that we need to follow, and we're doing so in the best way that we can considering the pandemic. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Thanks, Ken. Good.
Is there any way that the public can respond via the live stream?
You know, it is a WebEx is what they've told me. I assume that, like all WebExes that I've been on, you can make comments and that you can respond. I'm not the person that's going to be doing that. That will probably be, I think, Laura. IT is going to be in the background to help us, but I'm assuming that Laura will have a computer monitor in front of her that she's monitoring that, or IT. That's more of an IT question. That they can respond. We typically don't take questions during the public bid openings. What I do is I receive the packages, I read aloud their information, their general contractor's number, and then I have a set of papers that have to be in it. And then we read the bid amount aloud and we take notes, but we generally don't take questions from the public, and we announce how we proceed, what the next steps are, but it's not a question and answer session. It's just them just to see that the package was not open. Yes, sir.
Any more questions? All right, next we got departmental monthly reports. Any questions there? And then one thing, no questions. One thing we need to talk about, Tim, and I'm not sure, nobody's here, Chicago, whoever, but is the summer feeding program. I've seen some emails where you don't have as much participation and you have businesses not participating. And I know that we had talked about bringing that back up in April, and I forgot to tell Melissa. But
So it wasn't the summer feeding program we were talking about, it was the summer youth employment?
Well, youth employment, I'm sorry, yeah, right.
And so we can have an update for that in the first meeting in May.
And that's going to be enough time?
Yeah, I think we'll have a pretty good feeling as to the
Okay.
extent of
All right, I just want to be sure that
participating companies and whether we should do it or not.
we're not going to lose sight of it. Okay. All right, anybody got anything else? If not, we'll stand recess till 7 o'clock. Thank you.